My name is Bonnie Robertson. I'm 66 years old, and my diagnosis is CVID. I was born in Canada, where I lived for the first 22 years of my life. Then I moved to California, where I lived for the next 8 years. Then I moved to Saudi Arabia, where I remained for 6 years. Then in 1984, I moved to Houston and have been there for the last 29 years. My health history was unremarkable as a child. I had tonsillitis, strep throat, frequent colds, and not a lot of stamina. But other than that, there was really nothing of note. In 1978, I became pregnant and everything fell apart. I developed numerous polyps in my sinuses and other nasal cavities, and just was constantly sick after that. This persisted in the 6 years that I was in Saudi Arabia, and the medical care was minimal at best, and so it's not surprising that nobody really knew what was the matter with me. Fortunately, we moved to Houston, which was a large center for immunology, and I was referred to Dr. Houston in downtown Houston, and he diagnosed the CVID and started me on sandoglobulin, which was one of the very first IVIG preparations. I was on various preparations for the next 20 years, and everything went relatively fine for the next 20 years. Eventually, I came under the care of Dr. William Shearer at Texas Children's Hospital, and my big problems began when, after many years, 20 years of IVIG, I had an anaphylactic reaction at Texas Children's Hospital while I was having an infusion of Gamunex. I had been on Gamunex for a couple of years, so it wasn't as if we had changed products, and it was a mystery what caused the reaction. Viva Globin was brand new at the time, so we tried that, but I had a very bad local reaction and very high blood pressure, so that wasn't able to be continued. We then tried prophylactic antibiotics, and that didn't work either. I was sick with serious infections like Pseudomonas frequently. We decided that, and my IgG levels obviously plummeted because I was not on any Ig replacement. We decided that the balance had tipped. Even though it was dangerous to give me the IVIG, we needed to try to get it into my body somehow. So we tried every IVIG preparation that was out there: GammaGuard, GammaImmune, Flebogamma, CareImmune, Octagam. I don't think everyone, I had the same kind of reaction, even after pre-medicating with a lot of prednisone and Benadryl. I still had the reactions. So eventually, Hizentra came out, and I was put on that. And I have been on Hizentra now for almost 2 years, and I have a very severe local reaction to it, but at least it's not systemic, and it's able to be controlled, so I tolerate it fairly well. My life before getting on any Ig replacement was difficult. After 1978, I'm talking about, there was one calendar year that I was in the hospital 218 days out of 365. And it wasn't all at once. It was a revolving door of in and out with various very severe bacterial infections that required IV antibiotics. So my life was extremely difficult until we were able to get on the sandoglobulin and find the right amount and the right frequency and all of that. And then my problems pretty much resolved until these reactions started, and I'm still in that phase. Those reactions still continue, but fortunately, as I said, they don't turn systemic on the Hizentra, so I'm able to put up with the situation. I live a fairly normal life. I have very little stamina still. We use a very low dose of the Hizentra. I'm only on 20 grams a month, and my serum levels are about 620, which we know historically I need to be in the 900s in order to be functioning well. We haven't tried to get to that level because we don't want to tip the balance too far, so that I wouldn't be able to use the Hizentra, because really it's the only option out there. So that is my story. One other thing, I can't say enough good things about IDF. For many years, I knew that IDF was out there, but I never accessed the resources that were available to me. I just thought I could do it all by myself. And then 2 years ago, there were a lot of circumstances happen in my life that I needed some support. And I reached out to IDF, and they have just supported me in an incredible way. These conferences are wonderful from the point of view of gaining knowledge from experts and meeting people with the same problem as I have, who you don't have to explain what your fatigue is like, they get it. It's a wonderful organization. I've recently started working with the Plasma Partners program. My product comes from CSL Behring. So I went to my first plasma center visit this past February in Baytown, which is about 2 hours, well, not that far, an hour and a half south of where I live. And it was a recently opened center for CSL Behring. And I gave a very brief my story talk, and big thank you to all the donors who were there, and seemed to make a difference to them that they were able to put a face with what the end result was of the donation that they were giving that day. I also gave a talk to the staff, who also really appreciated meeting somebody who was using the product. Anyone who is not involved with the Plasma Partners program, I would really encourage you to look into this with IDF. It is a wonderful opportunity, and it is very important that we increase awareness of the fact that there are plasma shortages in the country, and we need more donors. And I was told by the manager of the facility where I spoke that they had a big increase in donors after I gave my talk. The donors that were there started to come more frequently, and other donors came referred by the donors that I had spoken to. So it definitely does make a difference. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish all of you the best of luck with your immunodeficiency.